Hi guys, Mr. Waffles here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get a new weapons case from the new DMZ map, Ash something or other island. I actually don't know the name of it right now while I'm recording the video. But before we jump in, there's a really important tip to start with here that makes life a lot easier. As you can see, I now have 4 people in my party. The way that I did that is I downed them and they then pled for help, and that gives you a really easy way to just invite them in once you've already killed them off. So I did that and got them in the party, and that's just going to mean that I have 4 people trying to go through this castle instead of 3. The next thing you need to do is go into the castle area where the yellow weapons case is on the map and destroy this turret. Now, it is going to be able to shoot you through some walls, so be super duper careful about that. But once you destroy it, and I'd say Semtex is really good for this. I'd also say things like stun grenades are useful. There are also cameras around the castle that are good to destroy so that it doesn't know where you are at all times. You'll see those with a red highlight. But once you destroy it, you can hack it by holding square, and that's going to open up this area. You can see it says it's a locked space on the screen just there. That's why it's saying that. It was previously locked. We unlocked it by hacking the destroyed Wheelson. Now, this doorway often has loads of enemies in it, and that's why I threw a Semtex a second ago. Just as a precaution, I advise you to do the same thing. Also look out for those things, those prox mines. But once you're inside and you fought off that first wave, I would recommend you follow me. So what we're going to do once we take out, obviously, a couple of the guys that are downstairs is come onto the staircase here, but don't run all the way up. Instead, climb where I'm climbing, or failing to climb in this case. My character obviously doesn't know how to do any pull-ups. But destroy the claymore that's waiting for you at the top of the stairs and the prox mine that's there as well. And there is also another claymore just here that you can wall bang. It might take you a few times. Shoot it on the left side of the beam and you'll be able to wall bang that. There's also sometimes another prox mine inside, so just be wary. And then you're going to notice that there's a laser which belongs to a sentry turret. As you can see though, you can just run behind it and get to bonking. Okay, that sounded weird. You can destroy it by meleeing it, and you can then make your way up these stairs. Now, there'll be a riot shielder that tries to greet you. Sometimes you can just beam their legs, as I just did, and life is really easy. Then there is a trip mine that you can defuse, and you can keep working on destroying the other enemies that are inside this room, including another riot shielder. But bear in mind, they do have a trophy system. They've actually got 2 trophy systems, so you can't just toss loads of stun grenades straight away. You will need to take out the trophy first if you want to do that, or you can just try and get the drop on the enemies before they see you. Now, sometimes you don't kill that riot shielder straight away. In that case, I recommend using a Semtex. If you don't have a Semtex, a really good idea is to spawn in with a Semtex, and then if you've used it already in your game, use your munitions box before you go into this top room, because you're pretty likely to find another sort of field upgrade of some kind in here, because there's loads of crates that you can loot, as you can see I'm doing right now, and loads of money that you'll get. But use your field upgrade before you go in there. Use that weapons ammo crate so that you can go with sort of guns blazing as you go into the room and take all the enemies down. Now, I would recommend that you don't pick up the weapons case straight away. I would also say that where the weapons case is, it's a good idea to turn off the alarm. There's a diffuse alarm button, just where I'm standing, just there. But don't accidentally pick up the weapons case when you're diffusing the alarm. Like, it's very easy to do one accidentally, and you want to do the other. So be really careful. As soon as you've grabbed the case, you need to be on high alert for enemies that are going to be poking around in this building, trying to take you down, because obviously they're alerted to your position now, okay? So, some pro tips for this. I'd say that just jumping down that initial area is a good idea, but I wouldn't get caught up doing what I'm doing right now, shooting a sentry turret, things like that. You can go out the way you came, and it's just going to make life easy. You can just jump down to basically make things a little bit faster, but you more or less want to track the same path that you originally took. Another thing that I'd say might be a good idea is if you think that there is a gunfight happening with an enemy team, you may want to just drop the weapons case. And by doing that, it's going to mean that the enemies are no longer alerted to your exact position. They're going to know that you obviously grabbed it in the first place, but they're not going to know exactly where you are. And that's just going to give you a little bit more room to maneuver, to fight back against them, because if you've got the case in your hands, they could just beam you through the walls. Like, it's really that straightforward, and multiple teams will try and do that to you while you're extracting with the case. Like, that is your number one biggest threat while you're doing this, is just getting away from other players, honestly. Now, as soon as you've grabbed the case and you've got downstairs, I'd look for where your nearest exfil is. I'm going to show you a little route here that you can run, which makes life kind of easier a little bit to get out. Obviously, you won't always have the extracts in the exact same places, but it makes life a little easier just so that you can avoid having to like basically go out the main exit or entrance and thus attract more attention from enemies. Also, there are very often activatable UAVs like I showed you just there, which you can grab from the enemies, and that will mean that you get a little bit of an advantage over any enemies that are in your area. But follow the route that I'm running now. You can then get up actually onto the roof and you can just parachute from there, and that gives you a massive burst of speed, and people won't expect you to be able to do that when you've got the weapons case. Alternatively, if you bought a vehicle in here, I'd recommend hopping in the vehicle and getting out of there as soon as possible. Now, if you choose not to take this route that I've just taken, you can, for example, do things like use these rappels to get up on top of the building, but you may find in your game that it's just easier for you to go this way. However, at all times, when you're just running around like a headless chicken, look at that, you might find that there's juggernauts just hanging out, okay? So even though you've cleared the compound itself, that doesn't mean you're out of harm's way from AI. Like, you might be completely focused on enemy operators, but AI are still going to be present. So be super careful. I wouldn't bother even trying to fight those. I would just run away from them because there's plenty of other options that you can take, other routes that you can take. And once you've got out of that main area, maybe you've taken a vehicle, you've flown or whatever, this is the exfil that I'm using here. You can use any exfil, of course. And what I would say is I'd recommend trying to get some kind of high ground here, because the main exfil points are so congested and there are so many sightlines most of the time, and it's just going to make your life hell if you're, for example, downstairs, like actually standing in the street that I'm currently overwatching. And that's exactly what happened to these guys. They were trying to use the ammo station, I think, in there. Something like that anyway. Maybe they were trying to do the contract. Either way, I realized that they were there while we were extracting the case, and part of me was like, maybe we should get them too. Like, I'm kind of hungry for kills right now, and we're a 4-man squad. That could be a good idea, but you basically just want to do whatever you can to avoid being that guy in the middle of the road. I mean, look at all those AI that just spawned in. That's another tip for you. If you know you're fighting an enemy team and you know that they're gonna at least at some point try and contest what you're doing, let the AI that's going towards them live. Like, there's no need for me to shoot the AI that's shooting them, right? So be wary of your timer. I was not being wary of my timer because I was being kill hungry, and that was very foolish. And I then realized that I couldn't mantle up this very easily. So in a pinch, if you're like me and you're in this exfil spot, you can jump up that way, get yourself on the chopper, you'll get a couple of extra seconds, and then that will be weapons case extracted. If this has been useful, then please drop a like on the video, that would be amazing, and subscribe to the channel for more Modern Warfare 2 videos coming in the next couple of days, probably, as the Season 2 update continues to show us what it's got in it, alright? Thanks, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.